Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Connor Bromley and today we are going to kind of talk about Sunderland's 1-0 defeat against Real Betis, but also talk about the elephant in the room, which is Dan Neil's contractual situation, his situation at Sunderland, and also a little bit on some of the other players, including Patrick Roberts. But we'll start with the game itself. Sunderland lost 1-0 against Real Betis. It was a mixed performance, to say the least. I thought going forward there were moments where Sunderland looked pretty good. There were also some moments defensively, maybe where we weren't looking at our best. We do kind of look a little bit toothless, though. That's my main takeaway. I must also add, Granit Xhaka looked amazing. Just absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to see him in a proper competitive environment where the games matter. I thought Granit Xhaka was amazing. I was also really impressed with Sunderland's new goalkeeper, Robin Roofs. I thought he looked good. I've got no qualms with him starting in the new season. The main question marks in terms of the team right now, as I've touched on, they need centre-backs. Today, Ronaldo played in at centre-back. He should have been over at left-back. We ended up with Harrison Jones at left-back, who is not a left-back. Don't suspect he'll play much, if at all, in the Premier League. So that is a concern for me. With now, two kind of games, but one weekend of pre-season left, and then we're into the full thing. So it's concerning that we don't have that position locked down. So Sunderland can get that, and I think that will help. Having a proper left-back playing at left-back, having, a top centre-back, which I'm sure we'll get, will make a difference. So the way positives, the goal we conceded, just a header from a corner, we move on. It is concerning we're not scoring in open play, but again, in pre-season, I'm not willing to write that off. Just now, I think that will come. It's just a case of getting that fluidity. And there were times where we nearly scored. We had nearly moments. We just weren't able to get it over the line. So I'm not massively concerned about that. My main thing I want to talk about today, though, is the fact that Dan Neil didn't get on the pitch. So Granit Xhaka has the armband, which I'm all for. I'm all about the Granit Xhaka hype. Absolutely, yeah, fine. He can have the armband. But Dan Neil, who's been our captain, he's been with us, since he was a little boy, but he has been with us through this journey from League One, and it looks to me like his time is coming to an end. That the fact that he wasn't given any minutes today felt like a real kick in the teeth for him. Probably seeing Granit Xhaka with the armband felt like a kick in the teeth. And look, I don't want to, speculate too much on what's happened with his contractual situation, but the way that I'm kind of looking at it is Sunderland have probably offered him a new deal, and I just wonder if Dan Neil has turned that down, and Sunderland have thought, well, okay, we're going to have to find different targets, and we're going to move on. And I sort of worry that is the case with him, where the club have been ruthless, which is fine. I want the club to be ruthless. That's not a dig at the club. I think that's the right way to go. But I think that's my read on the situation. And I'm also kind of tentatively looking at what's happening at Ipswich Town. They've been trying to buy Hayden Hackney from Middlesbrough. That deal's not going through. To me, it would feel logical that if Dan Neil isn't signing a new deal at Sunderland, maybe they'll look at him and try and pick him up for, it was £20 million they're trying to buy Hayden Hackney for, so maybe they'll offer similar for Dan Neil, in the 15 million plus range. That's kind of where I say that right now, and I think it's a crying shame if that is the case, but I must add, this is just me speculating. But yes, I thought it was very interesting. I'd be interested to hear what you think about the Dan Neil situation and whether or not you think his time at Sunderland's up, because it does feel like to me throughout this pre-season he's been in the B squads. I suspect he'll be going to Germany next week and playing against Augsburg in the what I would guess is the second team, and the main team will play against Rayo Vallecano. And it's one of them where it just feels like this is reaching its natural conclusion, Sunderland and Dan Neil. And I wouldn't have thought that when we got promoted at the end of the season. I think as well what's interesting is Patrick Roberts also didn't feature in the game. And I kind of thought Patrick Roberts might be able to make the step up to the Premier League. He's such a skillful player. He's a good player. He's a player that I really like watching. And I feel like he has the qualities that you need, really, to excel in the Premier League. Look, I'm not saying he's going to be the best winger in the world, but I do think Patrick Roberts has a role, and to not see him play against Real Betis was a bit of a surprise. I thought he would come on for maybe the last half an hour, but he didn't. And maybe there's reasons behind this. Maybe I'm just digging into it too much. But I think we as fans, are going to speculate about these things. That is what fandom is. You see things, you react to them. And I think I'm just kind of saying what most people are thinking, seeing the team sheets today and seeing these players not play, is that it just feels like maybe there's something off there and there's potentially something happening. But I'd be interested to hear what you think about those two situations, whether Dan Neil and Patrick Roberts potentially are destined for pastures new. I think as well, now going back to the game, we talked about the lack of sort of clinical forward play. Sunderland did get some good chances, but fundamentally the goalkeeper didn't really have much to do. There was like flashes across goal. There was a couple of long range shots that sort of just went at the keeper. But the concerning thing is we aren't getting clear cut chances. And I saw today the link to Impending, which has then been dismissed. But it makes you wonder if Sunderland are still going to be on the lookout for a new forward player. I know that we know that they're looking at maybe a left winger who can possibly play in the number 10 as well. But to me, this feels like an area that could see movement in the transfer window. It's obvious they need a centre-back, at least one, I think two. But is there a reason to speculate that they could be going for a striker as well? And I think Mark Gooey, however you say his name, who's coming in, look, that gives us a different option going forward. But is that going to be the only option we bring in? I would hazard a guess that it probably won't be. So I think Sunderland probably need to be looking at a forward player, whether or not it's a left-sided forward who can also play up front in the mould of kind of what we thought Wilson Isidore was. And also, are we going to be looking at, obviously, centre-back? You know, that has to be the number one priority right now. And I think centre-back would fix a lot of the issues we're seeing right now. You know, if we have a proper left-back playing at left-back, we have, you know, a proper centre-back playing at centre-back. Not that, and we didn't have that today. We had a left-back playing at centre-back and we had a midfielder playing at left-back. I think that would fix a lot of the issues we're seeing right now with Sunderland. And I'm excited to see what that does to the team. And I hope that's done before the games next weekend. I hope we see some movement in there at centre-back so we can see these players playing in the team before the season kicks off against West Ham. Anyway, if you want any more of what I think, I was on the latest Howie the podcast with Roker Report after the game. So it's good to be back on there. Obviously, anyone who's sort of followed me for like the last 7 or 8 years knows that I had a lot of work with Roker Report, so to be back on there was really good. So check out their latest episode. It was me, Gav, Johnny Hawley, and my brother Niall, who also used to do Roker Report, so we all did that together today, so check that out as well. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it. It's just, you know, a quick sort of takeaway from the game. I'd be interested to know what you think about Dan Neil and Patrick Roberts. And yes, we'll catch you next time with another video update, hopefully about a transfer, maybe a new centre-back, as I have bleated on about a lot recently. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you next time.